A chair slammed against the tile floor, and every head in the cafe turned, except hers. Harper didn't notice me standing there, watching the way she smiled down at her phone like someone had just handed her a secret she couldn't wait to unwrap. I wasn't supposed to be there. She thought I was across town working overtime, but something in my chest had been tightening for weeks, and that morning, it finally snapped. I had to see for myself. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Her lips curled. Then she whispered, barely loud enough for me to catch it. "I miss you too." My stomach dropped so violently, I had to grip the back of a chair to steady myself. That was the moment I knew whatever she and I used to be was slipping away behind my back, and she wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. I walked out before she could look up and see me. I didn't want confrontation. Not yet. I wanted truth. Harper and I had been married for 7 years. We had routines that once felt comforting. Morning coffee together, Sunday grocery runs, late night drives when she wanted to clear her head. But lately, everything felt rehearsed, hollow, like she was giving me the version of herself she kept on a shelf. Her new job changed things. More late nights. More working dinners. More perfume lingering on her jacket that wasn't the one I bought her. And she'd grown distant in ways that felt deliberate. She stopped reaching for my hand in public. She stopped laughing at the jokes she used to love. Even our bedroom felt colder. Not inappropriate or graphic, just empty, like affection had been misplaced somewhere she never intended to recover it from. When she came home that night, she walked straight into the kitchen like nothing had happened. "Long day?" I asked. She jumped slightly, like she didn't expect me to be awake. "Yeah, meetings. Back to back. You know how it is." I didn't respond. I just watched her, and something in her eyes flickered, like she knew I wasn't swallowing the lie so easily anymore. Over the next week, she grew more tense, more careful, more defensive at harmless questions. And then came the announcement. "There's a 4-day conference in Charlotte," she said casually while folding laundry. "It's for senior staff only. Big opportunity." I almost laughed. Not because of the conference, because she thought I was still clueless. But I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse her. I didn't beg or plead or demand. I let her talk. I let her pack. I let her hug me with the stiffest arms I had ever felt. And I let her leave. Because sometimes silence is sharper than shouting. While she was gone, our house felt different. Quiet, yes, but not lonely. More like I could finally hear my instincts again. I started piecing together every suspicious moment, every convenient excuse, every odd shift in her tone. I dug. I watched. I listened. And the deeper I went, the darker the truth became. A name surfaced. A pattern formed. And a trail she thought she had covered led straight to someone she should have never trusted. On the morning she returned, I stood at the airport curb with 2 people she never expected to see beside me. People who had every right to know the truth as much as I did. The look on her face when she stepped out of that sliding door told me everything. I wasn't wrong. She was guilty, and she knew her world was about to collapse in ways she never imagined. She opened her mouth to speak, but the words died on her tongue. I wasn't the same man she left behind 4 days ago. I had already begun her reckoning. By the time Harper reached us outside the airport, every hint of confidence drained from her face. She clutched the handle of her suitcase like it was the only thing keeping her upright. The wind pushed her hair across her cheeks, but she didn't move to fix it. She didn't blink. She just stared at me, then at Richard Hale, then at Madeline Ward standing quietly beside him. Her voice came out thin. "Landon, what's going on?" Madeline didn't say a word. She didn't have to. She had the same expression I'd worn a week ago, the moment I heard Harper whisper, "I miss you too," into her phone. A look that only people betrayed in silence understand. I didn't answer my wife. I stepped back, giving her a full view of the 2 people who had every reason to know what she'd been doing during her conference. Her eyes moved between us again, growing more frantic. Why are they here? Richard Hale, sharp and composed as always, cleared his throat. "Mrs. Pierce, we need to discuss some company matters regarding conduct during business travel." That sentence alone hit her like a punch. She swayed slightly. Harper forced a smile that didn't even reach halfway up her cheeks. "Conduct. Richard, what are you talking about?" Madeline stepped forward, her hands trembling despite the calm on her face. My husband's hotel receipts matched hers. Their room charges overlapped. And the photos, She paused, swallowing hard. We've both seen enough. Harper froze. Completely. No blinking. No breath. Nothing. The silence between the four of us stretched so long it felt like the ground itself was waiting to see who would break first. She finally forced out, "Landon, you actually believe this?" I looked at her as steadily as I could. "I don't believe anything blindly, Harper. I confirm things." Her lips parted. She knew exactly what that meant. Every lie she had tucked under the rug for weeks had finally been picked up, shaken out, and laid bare. That night, after she left for her trip, I started digging, not recklessly, not angrily, but with a clarity I hadn't had in months. I checked phone logs, email timestamps, calendar entries that contradicted each other, and all of it led to Colin, her colleague who always seemed too eager to stand a little too close during office gatherings. I didn't tell Harper any of that now, though. She already knew I knew. She tried again, stepping toward me. "Landon, please. This is not what it looks like. I swear." "Don't," I said quietly. One word. Her mouth shut instantly. She reached for my arm, but I took a small step back. She missed by an inch, her hand hanging in midair, as if even she wasn't sure what she was reaching for anymore. Madeline looked away, biting her lip hard. Richard kept his hands folded, polite yet distant. He wasn't here as my friend. He was here as the company's legal representative. And that scared Harper even more than losing me did. For the first time, she seemed to understand the weight of what she'd done. Not just to our marriage, but to her career, her reputation, her future. I spoke calmly, almost too calmly. "While you were gone, I learned everything. I don't need you to confirm or deny it. I already know." Her knees buckled slightly. "Landon, I'm begging you, don't throw us away like this. Please. You and I, this marriage, we can fix it." Madeline let out a small, pained exhale. Hearing Harper say it must have felt like reopening a wound she herself had tried to stitch shut. I turned my head toward Madeline. "I think we both deserve honesty." Harper flinched, knowing those words were directed at her as much as they were about Colin. Richard's voice broke through. "Mrs. Pierce, there will be an internal investigation, meetings with HR, and likely a suspension while we review your actions and company policy." He paused. "You were not alone on this trip, and it wasn't strictly business." Harper's breath quickened. She looked around like the whole world was closing in on her, like she needed someone to save her, but she knew no one standing there would. She whispered, "Landon, please listen to me. I never meant to hurt you." That was the moment something in me shifted. Not anger, not rage, just clarity. "I don't want excuses," I told her softly. "I want accountability." Tears formed in her eyes, but I felt nothing. Not numbness, just a steady understanding that I had crossed the emotional line where forgiveness becomes impossible. "I stood by you," I continued. "Every late night, every sudden meeting, every work dinner that didn't feel like one. I tried to trust you, but you didn't leave room for trust." She shook her head, sobbing now. "I made a mistake, a horrible mistake. But you're my husband. Don't you still love me?" Love. That word. It didn't sting like I expected. Instead, it felt irrelevant now. "I loved you," I answered. "But the woman I loved hasn't been here for a long time." Harper collapsed on her suitcase, shoulders shaking. And for a moment, I saw the version of her who used to run into my arms after long days. The version who used to light up when I walked into a room. But that version disappeared long before this day. I took a breath and stepped back, making my decision clear without shouting, without drama, just a quiet, undeniable boundary. I won't stay with someone who chooses someone else and calls it a mistake later. Madeline looked at me, then at Harper, then nodded slightly, maybe in agreement, maybe in heartbreak, maybe both. Harper reached out again. This time I didn't move. I simply didn't respond, because my revenge wouldn't be loud. It would be precise, calculated, and already set in motion. Harper sat frozen on the curb, mascara streaking down her cheeks, but I couldn't let myself be pulled back into the version of me who would normally rush to comfort her. That man was gone. The man standing there now had clarity, sharp, cold, and earned through every hidden message, every suspicious smile, every quiet betrayal she hoped I'd never notice. Richard Hale gently closed his briefcase, signaling the end of the airport confrontation. "Landon, I'll follow up with you tomorrow morning regarding the formal process." I nodded. He wasn't just talking about the company investigation. He was quietly telling me, "You did the right thing bringing this forward." Madeline offered me a small, grateful glance. One betrayed spouse acknowledging another. Then she turned and walked toward her car without saying anything more. Her silence wasn't cold. It was dignified. She wasn't there to punish Harper. She was there to expose the truth Colin had buried. When they left, the weight of the moment fell fully onto Harper and me. She finally stood, legs trembling. "Landon, let's go home and talk about this privately. Please, please don't end our marriage like this." Her voice cracked. "I can explain everything." I almost laughed, not out of humor, but disbelief. "You can explain a lot, Harper. What I want is for you to tell the truth." "I will," she whispered. "I'll tell you everything." But the strange thing was, I didn't need her confession. I already had every fact I needed. And now, I had one more step planned, something she wouldn't see coming. Still, I didn't say a word. I simply walked past her toward my car. She hurried after me. "Landon, wait. Please don't leave me standing here like this." I opened the passenger door instead of the driver's. "Get in." Her sobs slowed just enough for hope to flicker across her face. She thought this was mercy. She thought I was softening. She didn't realize that the ride home was part of her reckoning. The drive was silent for nearly 10 minutes. She kept looking at me, trying to read my expression, searching for the man who used to hold her hand while driving. The man who used to glance at her with warmth instead of guarded distance. She finally broke. "Landon, I didn't mean for anything to happen with Colin." Her voice trembled. "It was wrong. I know it was. But you've been so distant lately." And he listened. I gripped the wheel tighter. "I was distant because you were already gone." She wiped her face, shaking her head violently. "That's not true. I was stressed. Work has been overwhelming. I needed someone to talk to. That's all it was at first." "At first," I repeated, letting the words echo between us. She swallowed hard. "We kissed once. But I swear that's all it was." I let out a small, hollow breath. The lie wasn't even convincing. "One kiss. That's what you're going with." She stared at me, panic rushing through her eyes. "Landon, please." "You stayed in his room," I cut in calmly. "Your hotel keys logged multiple entries at hours that don't exactly fit business schedules." Her jaw fell open. "You checked that?" "I checked everything." She turned away toward the window, covering her mouth like she was trying not to scream. Then, in a shaking voice, she whispered, "I ruined everything, didn't I?" "You did," I said quietly, "and pretending it was accidental doesn't change that." She broke again, chest heaving, shoulders collapsing inward. "I don't want to lose you, Landon. I'm begging you. I will do therapy. I will quit my job. I'll do anything. Just please don't walk away." Her desperation didn't soften me. If anything, it reminded me how she begged for forgiveness only after consequences arrived at her doorstep. We were pulling into our driveway when I finally spoke again. "Harper, I already set things in motion before you landed. This isn't just about us. This is about accountability." She blinked. "What does that mean?" I parked the car and faced her fully. "It means the company knows. HR knows. And Colin's wife knows. There's no undoing that." Her hands flew to her temples. "Oh my God. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose everything." I didn't respond. She leaned closer, gripping my arm with trembling fingers. "Landon, please. I can't survive this. I can't have you turn your back on me too. You're the only thing I have left." The irony nearly choked me. She turned away from me long before this. I removed her hand gently. "You didn't think about losing me when you chose him." She let out a strangled cry. "I made a horrible choice. I was stupid. I was selfish. But you," she swallowed. "You've always been my home." "No," I said softly but firmly. "I was convenient. And when convenience wasn't exciting enough, you looked somewhere else." She stared at me, stunned, not by cruelty, but by truth she didn't want to face. Inside the house, she collapsed onto the couch as if her legs could no longer hold her. I stayed standing. "Landon, what happens now?" she whispered. I looked at her calmly. Now I decide how I want to rebuild my life, and whether you have a place in it." Her breath hitched. "And do I?" I didn't answer, because the next step of my revenge wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, precise, and waiting just beyond sunrise. Morning sunlight crept through the blinds, landing across Harper's face where she'd fallen asleep on the couch. Her eyes were swollen, her breathing shallow, like someone afraid to face whatever daylight revealed. When she heard my footsteps, she jolted upright, brushing her hair back with shaking hands. "Landon, please tell me we can talk now," she whispered. I didn't sit. "We're done talking about what happened. Now we deal with it." Her entire body tensed. "Deal with it? How?" I placed a folder on the coffee table. Documents, screenshots, timeline statements, and the email thread Richard Hale had helped me prepare. Everything was factual, calm, undeniable. Her hand hovered over it, but she looked terrified to touch it. "What is this?" "Accountability," I said simply, "for your actions at the company, and for ours as a couple." Her breath wavered. "You going to HR?" "Landon, that could ruin my job." "You risked your job the moment you chose Colin behind closed doors," I replied. "I'm not protecting what you broke." She covered her face. "I thought you loved me enough to try. I loved you enough to trust you," I said. "And you walked away from that long before this." She slowly lowered her hands, eyes red and exhausted. "So that's it? You're just done with me?" "No," I answered quietly. "I'm done being the only one trying." She flinched at those words more than anything I had said. They were the truth she had ignored through every late-night message, every quiet lie, every secret meeting. But my revenge wasn't about screaming or slamming doors. It wasn't about humiliating her in public or tearing her apart. It was about taking back control of my life, the life she treated like a backup option. I picked up my jacket from the chair. "Where are you going?" she asked, voice cracking. "To meet Madeline and Richard," I said calmly. "There are statements to finalize." She stumbled forward, grabbing my wrist like a lifeline. "Landon, please don't leave me here alone. I'm begging you, don't let this be the end. I don't want a divorce." The word hung between us. Divorce. She hadn't said it before. Hearing it now made reality sharper for her than any evidence I'd shown. Her grip tightened. "I will go to counseling. I will cut all contact with him. I'll admit everything. Just please don't throw me away." I looked directly into her eyes, and for a moment, the world fell completely silent. "You didn't think I was worth protecting when you walked into his room," I said softly. "I can't unlive that." She broke into tears again, but I didn't let myself crumble. I had held the pieces of our marriage together alone for too long. Not today. I gently pulled my wrist free. "Landon, please, tell me what to do. Anything. The consequences are already set," I told her. "All that's left is for you to face them." She staggered back as if I pushed her. "You're choosing to destroy my career," she whispered. "No," I corrected. "You did that. I'm just refusing to hide it." She sank onto the couch, a quiet, defeated sob escaping her. But I didn't feel triumph. Revenge isn't fireworks. Sometimes it's just reclaiming the dignity that was taken in shadows. At the door, I stopped and looked back one last time. "I hope you learn from this, Harper. I hope you become better for whoever you are after this. But I can't be part of it anymore." Her voice trembled. "So this is goodbye." "It's closure," I said. "The goodbye happened the moment you chose someone else." She lifted a trembling hand toward me, but it never reached. I walked out. Not slammed the door. Not stormed out. Just walked, calmly, steadily, purposefully. The sun outside felt different on my skin. Warmer. Lighter. Like life was finally opening a door she had been blocking for months. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't walking away from something broken. I was walking towards something whole. Myself.